Welcome, everybody. I have Derek here once again, and we are doing our series on the top 10 cards for each affiliation. So, this is an ongoing series. We're trying to do it in under 15 minutes. So, the challenge has been issued to you, Derek, to do this in under 15 minutes. So, we're going to have a card. Sometimes we might pull a card, sometimes it's an interaction. So, there might be two cards on. These are not in any particular order. I just numbered them 10 through 1 just because I don't know why I did that. That's just what I did.
It might change by the next video. Who knows?
Yeah, when I did it correctly. But
But we got some standards here that people will see at the beginning of each video. So that way we got a little bit of consistency. So whether you're joining us first time or joining us through the 10th time, you'll see that there's some consistency.
absolutely. Okay, so let's get into our, in no particular order, number 10.
So one of the cool things about the Cardassians, obviously, they were introduced in TNG, but they really got their good substance when they were, part of the main antagonists for Deep Space Nine. And their introduction through Decipher CCG here for Star Trek was really using the Norse as a station, right? So not they have an outpost, they have a headquarters, all that stuff, but utilizing a Nor is really crucial for Cardassians because you get the sites, right? And we could go into all the plethora of sites. We might do that as a video, right? What are the best sites for Star Trek CCG? But obviously, having the ability to do processing or downloading key personnel to the station is really important. So obviously, right out of the gates, we're going to include Tarek Nor, especially with the most recent ruling now. Too, from the Trek CC, if you're playing with virtual cards and there's modern format, the Tarek Nor is not considered not duplicable, not anymore. Don't say it's double negative there or triple negative, however you want to say it. But now you can have Tarek Nor in play, and your opponent can have Deep Space Nine, and you don't get screwed out of the gameplay because you both can have the station in play. All right, keeping on the facility sites, right? So obviously, when you're talking Cardassians, you're considering the Obsidian Order, but here we're going to talk about the Central Command. Obviously, having to play the Central Command on Cardassian Prime, so we've obviously included that mission orb negotiations here. But this is a great opportunity for a play engine for the Cardassians because, again, you're getting the ability to play a Cardassian Gull or Legate for free, along with any type of headquarters HQ card, as they dub it, to the site there, to the facility. So it's really good. Again, anytime we play cards for free, like we said, it's great. So one of the other great play engines I love, specifically around Deep Space Nine, is going to be Reshape the Quadrant, where it's adding you can see the little, Deep Space Nine Tarek Nor logo that adds to any of the personnel or ships in your deck that have the Deep Space Nine property logo, which is the top logo in the top right corner. And this playing Reshape the Quadrant then allows you to download the reactor core card, which is going to be I Miss This Office, which again, playing that is going to allow you to report any Deep Space Nine Cardassian personnel reporting to Tarek Nor may do so for free. One, if they have the staffing icon, along with or having the Tarek Nor in their lore, which is great. And again, it's a little bit harder, but it's still fun. Obviously, the ability to download baseball if you happen to play somebody playing Deep Space Nine and commandeer that station. Hey, another free 20 points is nothing wrong with that. But again, great play engine. For Cardassians, because again, anytime you can play a card for free, especially personnel, that's what we're here for the game. One of the unique things about Cardassians, right, if anyone follows any of the shows from TNG through Deep Space Nine, is really through capturing, torturing your opponents, all the fun things that come with it. So obviously including articles of jurisprudence for the Cardassian affiliation is huge. This one card is great because it's not just tied to the Deep Space Nine. You have to play it on Cardassia Prime. So most likely you'll probably be playing the headquarters, as we mentioned a couple cards ago. But when you have a captive there, you can, you play that card on that captive that's on Cardassia Prime. So then each of your Cardassian personnel that have law gain that captive skills. So imagine if you had, like we mentioned from one of our previous videos on the TNG Federation, imagine you capture Jean-Luc Picard as your captive, and you play this card on him there. Literally, all your Cardassian law personnel are going to have those 6 skills, including 2 diplomacy on every one of them. One of the things to also consider, too, is anytime those Cardassian personnel, regardless of whether they have law or not, but don't have honor, are all attributes +2. And then on top of this, if you use this as just a normal card play, like you can for any incident, you can play this once each turn to draw a card for each captive you have you're escorting here in your brig. So again, great draw engine. And one of the things we just mentioned, linking it is to Macbar, which is a great card because you can play her, but she could download any punishment card, which is the little icon there from the 4 lights scenario. But again, great way of getting articles of jurisprudence out rather than trying to draw the card to get that out of your draw deck. So one of the great cards that, again, allows you to basically attempt some missions that normally you wouldn't be able to attempt, but it adds a couple of different skill sets to solve that mission, is Forced Labor Camp. But the really good thing about this is, again, it's very thematic when you're talking Cardassians. But 2, it's great when you escort a captive after you solve the planet, because then each turn you're drawing an additional card. So you can see this or play this at any time. A lot of time people, especially if you're using virtual, will be playing now that my mind's drawing a blank. But you can download any objective when you have your Cardassian Gaul at a planet. So you can play this and download it. And then that way you can play at multiple locations as the card reveals there on which missions you can play it on. But again, the ability to just keep drawing cards when you have captives is super awesome.
Oop, wrong way. Wait,
Oh.
that's one. That's
you're going. No, you're good. You go one more back. Sleeper Trap is what we should have.
Oh,
there we go.
I'm bad.
You're fine. So we're gonna go to number 5, which is Sleeper Trap. So Sleeper Trap, anytime you can seed a dilemma, and when your opponent encounters it, and you get to download personnel to them, is really good. So this allows you to basically to one site or planet. So site again is if your opponent is attempting like Impact Nor, trying to basically commandeer it so they get all the benefits, or again if they're trying to do a planet mission. You can download 3 different universal Cardassians in one hand weapon. And yes, they're universal Cardassians, but there's some really good ones that have 9 and 8 strength. When you're downloading a hand weapon that adds +2 or +3 strength, especially, if your opponent is, playing maybe an affiliation that has, 4 or 5 people that may not be super strong, right? And maybe they didn't bring a piece of equipment with them, specifically a hand weapon. Next thing you know, you've got 3 guys. As long as one of them has officer or leadership, you're able to attack them that turn with personal battle. And most likely, if you have some other combo cards out there, like we mentioned earlier, jurisprudence, articles of jurisprudence, if you have HQ War Room, you could already be looking at bumping up your universal Cardassian personnel up, with that hand weapon +6, +8. Because there's even some universal Cardassian personnel that download weapons on top of that. So you can be looking at double strength just from 3 guys that basically could turn into 3 immediate kills against your opponent. Plus then they're stopped from that mission continuing because that whole team is stopped from battling. So a great card, which is Sleeper Trap for any Cardassian deck.
All right. Number 6 or number 4, as I mislabeled here.
Again, countdown, right? To number 4. So obviously, anytime you're talking Cardassians, there's some key personnel that you're going to include. One being Dukat, right? So one of the main antagonists from Deep Space Nine. It's a phenomenal card, though. One of the main reasons that this is a great card, even though there's other versions that came out, most of them being virtual. But what's great about this one is the leadership ×2, because when Deep Space Nine came out, there's a card called Taking It to the Top, which basically is an interrupt, which again, you can play at any time, outside of mid-mission attempt, but you can play that card and you can download any personnel with leadership ×2. So again, whether you're playing open rules or modern rules, regardless, anytime you can download a personnel, again, specifically during even your opponent's turn, you don't have to play them to an opponent's site that or ship that they're occupied. You can play it to your own, but the same fact that you're getting a free personnel during your opponent's turn, always crucial when it's, a matter of numbers and skills in this game when you're trying to solve missions. So great card, obviously very iconic. And just like I said, anytime you play Cardassians, you got to play Dukat.
Looks awesome. I don't know anything. I'm like kind of a Star Trek noob, so I'm just like enjoying these photos.
I will tell you, from quick side note, we got a minute here. TNG's always been very iconic. I grew up watching it with my dad, but as I got older, Deep Space Nine is the best Star Trek storytelling. So I tell any adult, if you really want good dramatic storytelling, just set in the Star Trek universe, watch Deep Space Nine. So obviously one of the other iconic Cardassians out of the Deep Space Nine series is Garrick. So this Garrick is pretty good. This one is very traditional out of the Deep Space Nine set. Computer skill, obsidian order, treachery, anthropology, and then may avoid any random selection, which is great because there's a lot of dilemmas against your opponent that are going to say, random selection, blah, 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 when it comes to that. And having the ability to just avoid allows you to save computer skill, treachery, and anthropology. Especially computer skill and anthropology are really good key skills for a lot of really good hard dilemmas to pass. So the fact that you can kind of bypass some of those filters that your opponent's looking for is just a great card when it comes to Cardassians. Ecor, not iconic, but his ability here for his special skill, as we talked about when we kind of ranked some of our, Decipher sets. We mentioned how good Holodex is, even though it's a really OP power creep set. And this is the reason why, because this character here basically has a free report engine on him. So once each turn, your universal Cardassian security may report for free where present. So there's a lot of good cards that, you can really do. And the fact that he's a leadership honor personnel for Cardassians is really good because there's, internally struggle between the honor and treachery if you don't, without going into too much, but there's a good mixture. But anytime you have Cardassians with honor, it's a good skill because there's not a whole lot of them. So having that on the personnel is really good. And again, as we mentioned, you can download him right out of the gate with Tarek Noor at Ops, the site. Download the Officer 2 there, and you've got a free play engine right off the bat.
All right, and our final one here.
So for Cardassia is what I think a essential card when it comes to building any Cardassian affiliation. Obviously, if people are really focused on the bad guys, really want to focus on capturing, obviously there's a lot of great cards, ones that I didn't even mention here again, right? Because there's a lot of good quote unquote capture cards that really work for all affiliations, or some really good, especially like the Dominion or the Kazon or Vidian, even the Hirogen. You have some for the Klingon and the Ferengi, obviously the Romulans. So we didn't include those because those aren't specific to Cardassians, right? Where they don't mention that type of affiliation with the logo or the term in there. This card does. So this one plays on any of your legates for free, especially if they have honor. And then all your Cardassians present are integrity and strength +2. So the simple fact we mentioned earlier, strength +2 is great for some of those combo cards, especially out of Sleeper Trap. But this one is the integrity, which is really good for Cardassians because out of other than a handful of Cardassians, a lot of the Cardassians have lower integrity because it's not their strength, right? They're more cunning and they're more strength related attribute personnel. So having that ability to add integrity is a really good skill breaker when it comes to having to handle those types of dilemmas along with any type of mission solving that you need to do. And what this does is this basically allows you, when you're utilizing the HQ homeworld, secure homeworld on Cardassia Prime, which is a objective card that basically allows the appropriate affiliation to attempt their own homeworld to solve. When you use that, and you actually solve it with this legate that this card is on, you may discard the objective, download 2 Cardassians who have honor, which is always great, or instead, once per game, place that legate and those two are Cardassians who have honor from that away team, place them out of play to score 15 points. And 15 points for 3 personnel is a great game breaker at the end. So it allows you to really take negotiations, which is already 35 points. You add this into it, it's now made it a 50-point mission solve, which is huge, because anytime you can get to 100 points by solving space and planet by just doing it with 2 missions for a 2 mission win is great, because most people have to solve 3, maybe even 4 missions to win the game. So the fact that you can get 2 missions solved to get 100 points is great. And one of the reasons that we included the card next to it, Legate Daymar, is because obviously he's a great personnel. Again, leadership ×2. Like I said, taking to the top allows you to download him. He obviously plays free to your headquarters, but that he allows you that for Cardassia. So you can have a couple of these in your deck, wait till you're about to solve it, then download for Cardassia at the last second, so that you get that 15 bonus points and you don't spoil something from not, blocking you from getting that 15 bonus points.
We did it. Well, not quite in 15 minutes, but we did it, Derek. Well, thank you for taking us on this crash course for Cardassians. If you guys have some requests on other factions or affiliations, not factions, that you'd like to see, we're happy to do it. This is going to be probably a much bigger series that takes up quite a bit more time. But
there's about 20 of them, if last I counted. So
well, we're going to do the prominent ones. We'll probably hit the Borg, Klingon. So we want to get more gameplay out for people to start thinking about playing Star Trek and printing and playing. Once again, you can find all this stuff online and print for free, so the accessibility should be there. But that's all the time we have today. Thanks for hanging out, Derek, and thanks for giving me a crash course in the Cardassians. And we'll catch everybody next time.